Greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. Guys, it is Saturday, and I have an upload for you to start this day off with, but a quick reminder. Saturday Nightmares live from upstate New York. Our live stream, it starts at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we share experiences with Dogman and other cryptids, paranormal, and all kinds of high strangeness, theories, experiences, and it is unlike any other live stream in the cryptid paranormal research community on YouTube. Our community itself in the chat is second to none. The friendships forged, the respect, it is truly amazing. All are welcome, and I do hope to see you all at 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. A couple quick links before we jump into today's upload. As many of you may know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, channel membership, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon, PayPal, and channel membership is in the description below. The merch is displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. These audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It does not cost a cent. Click the like button, takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads that I put out daily, click the bell icon, and folks, please leave a comment and share the video. Why? Well, because these things, they really do help the channel to continue to grow and go. They definitely do matter, and I do appreciate them. And with that, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's jump in to today's upload, shall we? All right, everyone. Tonight I have a subscriber that I have interviewed twice before. His father-in-law, I believe, father-in-law is a game warden, or was a game warden out in Texas. I interviewed him about the Christopher Whiteley case and a couple of other things we had talked about. I have Nick from Texas back with us. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Thank you for asking.
Thank you for reaching back out to me. And I'm really excited to hear what you have going on, because I got that on Messenger, you saying you finally had an encounter in your area. And, I don't know this encounter. I told him I don't want to hear it until the interview. So I'm going to give you the floor and let you share what you got to share.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Like you heard Jeff mention, I've been on the show twice. He interviewed me twice, and I kind of been out in the scene for a while because I was taking care of my dad. I knew there was at least three Dogman through witnesses and people having encounters. They're running around. But I personally haven't had time or put boots in the ground and do my own investigation out in the fields. But anyway, since Jeff reached out, I reached out to Jeff in an interview. I have people have contacted me in the state of Texas and were interested going out in the fields. And of course, I have tried to go out in the fields with my wife, and we're out there one area where two different witnesses had encounters of a dogman, especially the one eating a roadkill, a deer on the side of the road, and of course another one that ran across the road. Anyway, I took my wife to that bridge, and of course she got scared. Anyway, I stopped, and of course life gets busy. And anyway, a gentleman, and he's a friend of mine now. His name's Sean. He said it was okay to use his name. He lives in San Antonio. He reached out and he heard the interviews and wanted me to show him the area. And I said, well, we can do our own investigation and go out in the fields if we can see tracks and just go out there and go to these different areas where these people that have encountered in my area that have spoken to me about them. Anyway, so we decided to go out 2 weeks ago. Of course, we went out to the areas where each people that I've spoken to have these encounters. And I mentioned to Jeff, we live at a lake out here, and the way we figured out how they move through the woods and through the riverbeds and creek beds. It's all around this lake. And we figured out they travel east to west. Of course, since I have time, we're investigating, so we're looking at Google Map under satellite imaging, and we pinpoint every customers of mine that I've spoken that have the encounters. So we put, do a pin drop. Okay, we're going to investigate here, and all those encounters. And I don't know if I told Jeff on this one, and my neighbor that I buy my eggs from, her and her daughter were walking. Now the lake is dry, so the lake bed's dry. Her and her daughter were walking along the lake bed, and they ran into a dogman that was squatted down, was black, and of course when she does walk around, she's carrying a weapon anyway. But her daughter's, I believe she's like 7 years old. Anyway, she did see the dogman and went aggressive, she said. So they backed off and walked away. They didn't growl at him or nothing, just looked at him. So I mentioned this to Sean. Anyway, we went to these spots. First thing, we went to this picnic area along the highway. You know how they have not a rest area, but technically it's a picnic area. It's up on the hill, on the ridge, off the highway. And what's strange is that with those two ladies that had the encounters, I actually saw them. They ran across the highway. That picnic area is just like maybe max a half a mile where they have their encounters. Well, they closed that picnic area during that time where those two ladies had the encounters. Well, it didn't make sense why they closed it, but now I know why, because they've been having these encounters, they know these things are running around. And I have a friend of mine, is a truck driver, and he always passes that picnic area on the way to work. And he couldn't understand that why it's closed. So I personally have gone up to the picnic area. Nothing's wrong. It's clean. It's clean. Nothing's wrong. You know what I mean? There's no construction. It's just closed. Anyway, so 2 weeks ago, Saturday, we started the investigation at 10 p.m. So we went up the picnic area, looking around. It's night, shining lights. Sean was making whooping sounds, growl sounds to get a response. So we did get some kind of response. We heard coyotes start responding, and we heard a slight howl. Okay. And then we stood there for a while. I think we stayed there for about 2 hours, nothing. So we moved on. Like I said, that picnic area is about a half a mile where that crossing that bridge where the two encounters happened. So we went over there, parked there, looking at the creek bed. Of course, it's dark. That means wooded. It's really dark. The wood's so thick. You shine a flashlight. You'd be lucky if you could see 15, 20 feet. Not even that. So thick. Anyway, we were there, and of course, Sean's, doing sounds and whistling, and we got the same response of the coyotes. and we heard that howl. Well, that howl and coyotes are coming from the lake. So we're practically, I'd say, about 6 miles west of the lake. I mean, I'm just guessing. But we sit there for a couple of hours, nothing. Okay, just the sound. We waited. It was still early. Now it was like maybe around 2:30 in the morning. So I said, well, let's head towards the lake. Let's head towards that gentleman that had heard 3 and saw 1 on his property that was standing about, let's say, almost 8 foot tall. Saw the eye shine. And that gentleman, a month later, I ran into him. Well, I was working at his parents' house, and he saw me at his parents' house, and he came over across the street. He saw my truck there, my company truck, and he literally just came across the street to tell me that these things came back. But I kind of regret that I didn't get a chance to talk to him. But I had business, I had to go. So I didn't get to talk to him on the second encounter that he had that came to his property. He has 25 acres down the valley, has deer feeders, and then he had 3 of them that were pushing deer down to the valley to ambush him, and 1 came up to his fence line and growled at him. So anyway, the game plan was to go to that area from the bridge to that area, the other side of the lake. So we decided to take a back road. I never taken the back road. Never been down that road. So I put it on Google Maps, and now it took us a while. I mean, it's winding roads. It's really desolate. I mean, it's creepy. It's really dark. And I mean, it's really dark, wooded, creepy. Anyway, so we're going real slow. We're driving, and we have flashlights. We have, I have a night vision binocular camera, which I kind of feel silly. I should have played with it and practiced with it, but I didn't. Anyway, we're going down. We're driving towards the lake, and then we go down. It starts dropping down to a valley. Well, what's happening is the road crosses, I say about a quarter, not even that, but from the spillway of the dam. So we started to cross that bridge, and something caught my eye on my provisional vision. So I stopped the truck. Well, already done deactivated the dome light. When we opened the door light, when I just shut it off, and then when I saw it, I saw it moving across the water. And I said, well, I thought it was a mountain lion. We have a lot of mountain lions in there. Well, my first, it's a mountain lion. Anyway, we shined the light, and they turned around and looked at us. And they did have some eyes, and had some big eyes, yellow eye shine. So I'm still thinking, well, it's a mountain lion, but I'm looking at the hind quarters, and that water has to be at least about 4 feet deep in that area. It could be deeper. Because it's a restricted area. That's what's weird. It's a restricted area. There's signs restricted area. Like I said, it's about a quarter mile, maybe a quarter mile from the spillway. So it doesn't make sense. I understand it was right by next to the spillway, and then you can't go up there. But no, it's about a quarter mile, and it actually has a signs restricted area. Anyway, they had these high fence and what do you call those, razor wires on top. And that was kind of strange. Anyway, well, we're looking at this thing. Okay, I'm thinking it's a cat at first, but I'm looking at the hindquarters, and it's sticking out of the water. Man, God darn, that's pretty tall thing, walking all fours. And then the eye shines through me. Well, I'm being skeptic. Well, it's a cat. It's a mountain lion. Well, I have ran into mountain lions out there. And it did either, there's two things they're going to do. They're going to look at you and take off, or they're going to be aggressive and come at you, do bluff charge. Well, this thing started like it's going to start getting out of the water. It looks like it's going to get out of the water and go through the woods, head out to the woods. And all of a sudden it stops. Like we stopped, we turned off everything. And all of a sudden, this thing turns around. So I shine the light and I move the headlights, the flashlights from it. You know, because, you know, I want to see if this thing's going to shine on its own without flashlight reflection. And Jeff, I'm telling you, this was no cat. Right. It was not a cat. Oh, man. I look at those eye shines, and like I said, I ran in my first mountain lion eye area when I was in junior high. And then I just found out, too, Texas is number 2 population on cats, the second highest population. I would think Colorado, but we outdid Colorado and New Mexico. So I'm thinking cat. People are catching cats on game cams, so I'm thinking cat. And all of a sudden, I look at this thing. I look at the eye shines, how white they were. Coach Sean, this ain't a cat. This is not a cat. Look at it. And Jeff threw us a loop here. I heard a lot of encounters through your show, but threw us a loop. This thing was curious, was looking at us, was not afraid of us. And then it started moving like a tactical move. That's what threw me off. We're watching this thing moving. I'm looking at the eye shine, and I'm looking at the eye shines reflecting off the water. I mean, this thing was like, looked like flashlights. They were so bright. Yeah, these eye shines were so bright.
Self-illuminating.
Yes. Oh, my God, Jeff. I was excited, a little nervous. I was excited because, so you and I talked about it, and then you hear people that hear these things, and some people react different. And, of course, on my experience in life and other things, so you don't know how you're going to react till you actually see one. But I was nervous, anxious, don't get me wrong. And what I did, I left my key halfway in the ignition, right? To, you know, the door's wide open in my truck. Sean has walked out of the truck, out of the passenger side, walking in front of the truck, looking at this thing. And he's doing, and I said, do this. You know, and anyway, start maneuvering. That thing started maneuvering backwards. We're watching it. In the water. It's all in the waters. It didn't get out of the water. It's in the water, moving, right? And it's deep. I don't know how deep it is because I went in there and it's so dark. I wanted to go there, measure, and then go see tracks. But, of course, now it's a restricted area, and there's no way you can get in. I mean, you got to really climb fence. I mean, you got to really climb to get over there. You know, it's a restricted area. Anyhow, we're watching this thing, Jeff. It's going zigzag, but keeping an eye on us backwards. And it goes halfway, and it starts moving right way. But it's like going behind shrubbery, back, you know, hiding and looking at it. And then he closes his eye or turns his head. And now it's moving back. And then, of course, the flashlights we had, they're okay. But my vision is pretty good. Now, I kept on seeing the silhouette on the hinds, and I said, man, this thing has to be 5 foot tall. It was walking all fours, and I saw the hindquarters. This thing has to be 5 foot tall on the hindquarters at least. I'm looking at it. And it's moving. And then a couple of times it closes its eyes. So I intentionally, on purpose, shine the light and remove that light. Shine the light, remove the headlights, the flashlight on it, the beam of lights. Because it kind of want to close its eyes when I shine the light at it. Anyway, it's maneuvering, right? Technical, going to the right. Okay, dummy me. I got a binocular. I mean, was a camera. It was a memory card. Okay, you hear people, and then I hear stories of, well, why didn't they got a phone? Why didn't they record it? Why didn't they record it? Right? I'm over here listening to these encounters. Well, now I'm one of them. I was so mesmerized watching these eyes and the way it was moving. And Jeff, when they moved, Jeff, it didn't make a ripple in the water. That's what freaked us out.
Yeah, yeah.
It freaked out Sean and I didn't know how, later on I found out how bad, and Sean's ex-military, he was really freaked out. I didn't know how bad it was to after the fact. He told me what was going with him, what he was looking at it. Well, this thing's moving, right? Technical. I mean, literally technical. It's like you go back, go to the left, and then go to the right. Like when it goes right, it takes like 3 paces or 3 yards. I mean, 1 yard, and it goes back. But eventually, it was working itself to the right, like it's about to flank us. And I'm telling Sean, this thing's gonna flank us. This thing is curious. Anyway, I told Sean, but remember, we're on the bridge, and the bridge on the bottom of the bed of that river, because by the bridge is a little more rock and it's higher, right? Well, even though it's 20 feet below the bridge, it's 20 feet. That's how high the bridge is. I told Sean, of course, the river continues on the other side of the bridge, and there's a lot of woods, and there's some big trees. I told Sean, look behind us. This thing probably tries to distract us, okay? Maybe something's distracting, and because I know for a fact there's 3 of them running here, and maybe his buddies are coming from behind. Well, I don't know if it's a good thing I told Sean that or what, but like I said, I don't tell you after we left. Anyway, cover six. Anyway, I'm watching this thing moving right. Well, Sean didn't tell me when he moved to the right, he saw 2 eye shines in the woods out of the water. 2 pair of eyes watching them. And this thing they had to be like, about 8 feet tall, watching them. Well, I didn't see it. But we listened to your podcast. I said, and we're carrying. I'm carrying my pistol. Sean's carrying his 40 mag. But I told Sean, try not to show it because they know what a weapon is. We try to make a game plan, but we didn't expect to see anything on the first night. Right. Anyway, what Sean did, he didn't tell me. He pulled his gun out and pointed it at this thing. I didn't know this because he's over there about 10 yards, 15 yards away from the front of the truck. Toward the middle of the bridge. Like I kind of stopped at the beginning of the bridge after this thing caught my eye. Well, all of a sudden, this thing starts moving back. Same method, though he's moving zigzag, but he's moving back. And when he's moving back, and when he's getting towards the center road, this thing has to be 75 yards wide. That riverbed. Well, that riverbed, when that thing was moving around, it's deep. And why I say it's deep, because on the right side is the inlet from the spillway. The water runs from the right side into the river, to that area where the bridge is at. Well, logic will say, okay, the river's going to continue downhill, from upstream. It's going to go downstream. It's usually the rule of rivers run, right? Well, the mouth of the outlet coming down is on the right side. Instead of it continues down the bridge, but that where this thing is, there's a cavity there, so water went upstream backwards. Technically, it went upstream because it's so deep, so it filled up that cavity of the river. So it's telling me, even though it's upstream, it's still technically down because it's deep and everything, that the water puddled up in that area. Well, when this thing's moving to the left, I'll pull out the binoculars, the camera, right? Yeah. Okay. We've been watching this for at least 30 minutes. That's what's the crazy thing. That's what's amazing. This thing once spoke. It was doing all these maneuvers and watching us. Okay? So Shawnee told me he pulled the weapon out, and then when he's moving back to the left, I see an eye shine behind it in the woods. A quick eye shine, and that was it. Now, of course, hindsight, these things are moving down. Sean showed his weapon. And I didn't know that. I said, Sean, don't, and I was a little upset. I told you not to do this.
Right.
You don't get these things to get aggressive. According to everybody, these things are not aggressive. You know, they may growl or something. Mostly they quiet and they're moving around in the woods. Like Stephanie, she's a girl with her little girl. This thing revealed itself. It was squatted down and it went aggressive to her. Anyway, I didn't know that. That's after the fact. I found out. Anyway, this thing is moving out, and I have a video, and I posted on my Facebook page on Texas Hill Country Dogman. But I had problems sending it. I had to reduce the size to send it to individual. Well, it was easier for me to go and put it on Facebook, and people could see it there. But now it's moving farther back. And it, like I said, I pull out the binoculars with the camera. Of course, it's my fault. I should have practiced with that binocular. And because there's like 5 buttons you got to play with. Well, I couldn't get it a night mode. I couldn't get a night vision. I was messing with. I said, screw this. I got to catch some video. No matter what, I got to catch some kind of video of this thing. Yeah. Because I ain't going to be like these other folks. They have an encounter, and they don't put it on video. Don't even catch it now. Well, now, this thing has moved them farther back. This thing has to be, let me think, 30, 40 yards back. Okay? But it didn't look that far, but it was a distance because the eyes were so big, Jeff, so bright. That's what mesmerized me. And I'm looking at the reflection. You can hear me on the video. Look at the eye shines. Oh, my God. Look at the way it's reflecting off the water. Oh, my God. But this thing wasn't afraid of us. It was not afraid of us. So we're watching it move. And in our lives, our flashlight can't get a good image. We can't get an image. So I'm messing with a flashlight, a tactical flashlight. You know the cheap ones you buy, batteries, three AAAs, and you can zoom in. I'm trying to zoom in. So now it's moved back. So now I got to try to zoom in with my phone. I'll say, man, I can't get this, the binoculars going right there because it's my fault. I didn't mess with it. So I get the camera. Of course, you start zooming in. Now you got to really hold steady because you're bouncing around too much, right? I said, now I know why I see people have shaky videos because I'm here trying to stay still, zooming in. And you got 2 hands. I got one hand holding the phone, and then, of course, your finger to zoom in. Then I got to switch hands, get the flashlight, to get it to respond, right? So I'm zooming in. Well, meanwhile, what Sean does, because now it's backing away. And Sean says, Sean's thinking, it's leaving. Why do you know he showed him this weapon? That's the thing. The reason it's moving back because Sean showed his pistol to him. Well, Sean plays a recording or YouTube or something of a baby crying, right? Mm-hmm. He plays it out loud on the phone. And Jeff, this thing responded. It responded. His eyes got bigger, and it moved forward. It moved forward. I said, oh, man. Well, now, I saw those eye shines in the back of the woods. Sean didn't tell me that he saw 2. Now I'm thinking, well, after hindsight, these things I think they were starting to make maneuvers to come around us. That's my opinion. And then I don't know if this was a godsend or not, because like you say, you're out in the woods, out in the country, and there's fairly few houses out there, and it's pretty windy. It's a snake road. This snakes down. Like you're coming down a mountain, a hill. How it's zigzag. Snakes itself down. So you got to work your way down. Well, I heard cars coming. I'm in the middle of the bridge. There's no lights on, nothing. I told Sean, let's go. Let's go. We got cars coming. We got to start the truck. We got to move it. Well, I'm thinking move and come back, right? Get out of the way and turn around. That's what I'm thinking, right, at first. Well, get in the truck, start. Anyway, we wound up 2 vehicles. Now this is about, I forgot what time. This was about, we were there, we were looking at this at least about 40 minutes. So we got there about 3 o'clock in the morning. That was usually the ideal time when these things were around. It was 3 in the morning when we got to that bridge. Anyway, Sean gets in the truck, and we take off, and I'm trying to go up, find a way to turn around and come back, right? But Sean's freaked out. I didn't know what was going on with him. I was just focused on this thing and recording it, right? Sean, that's what he told me. He put the gun out. That his hair, back of his neck was standing up, and he was shaking. He was shaking. He said, "Nick, I thought I pissed in my pants." I don't know if he did. This is what he said. See, that's what he but I said, "Man, really? I mean, don't get me wrong. I was anxious. I was nervous. But I'm thinking the predator, behind me. And Jeff, there's like 30, 40 feet tall trees up there,
Right.
And I said, I'm looking in the trees too, looking up trees, see if anything's up in the trees. And 2, also, Jeff, all this time, I'm trying to get a better vision, but we can't. It's so dark, and that thing is dark, and the only thing you see eyes. You see the eyes, and the thing. I had the tactical flashlight, and I'm zooming in. I can't get a good shot. It's like maybe it was like they say, people absorbs the light. So I had a Ryobi light. It's LED, and it's more a floodlight. I even tried that to get a better view. We couldn't get a good view on it because maybe it was absorbing the light. We're just seeing the eyes, and I'm trying to absorb it. And what freaks me out, like I said, it was moving across that water with no ripples. I mean, it could be almost like it was moving so much. It could be like a ghost floating across. That's how smooth it was moving. I mean, no ripples, Jeff. And that second was huge.
Right.
I mean, you can see the eye shine. They were huge. You couldn't even see no ripples. And you can hear me in the video. Oh my God, no water moving, nothing. It's moving. And then the way it's moving, technical, the way it was moving, using some of the brush that were growing out of the water, and it, try to cover itself, just back and forth. Anyway, we drive off. Sean said, let's go. Why do you know what happened? And he still didn't tell me what happened. He didn't tell me. He was silent. He was nervous. Let's just go.
Were you aware of the other ones that he had seen at that point, or no?
I didn't see the ones on the right. He saw 2 set of eyesights. I saw one. Okay, let me give you an example. This thing was on the right. When Sean pulled out the gun, because my opinion, it was making a flank move. It was flanking us. Or it was going towards the other 2. I didn't know there was 2 more back there. Right. I didn't know there was 2 more back there. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's what I asked. When did he tell you this, that there were 2 others to say about
after we left?
He told you about the gun?
Yeah, after we left. He told me all this after we left. Because I mean, it's pitch black. Okay, it's dark. Believe me, it's dark. No moon, dark. and it's I think it was those little fog, or it was overcast. Okay, so I didn't get to. I mean, I was watching. I could see him on my peripheral vision, but that was it. And then I kept my eye on this thing. I ain't gonna get my eyes off it. That's what I told him. I don't know if there's on the recording. No, it's on the recording. I didn't pull it out like the phone yet. I told him, dude, I'm gonna keep an eye on this thing. Look behind us. I literally multiple times look behind us because this thing could distracting us. And they could be coming from behind.
Right.
Anyway, like I said, when he moved to the right, make that move. Like I said, it took at least. Oh, man, Jeff, it took him at least 30. That thing took about 35 minutes to make that move slowly. It wasn't just, hey, it went across. It took its time and the way it was going. I mean, like a trained soldier, it was going, just like, I'm going to get an area, back and forth, and eventually move it right. You move to my right, move to the right. That's what it's doing. And so it did that. And like you said, when he came, so my question, when he pulled the gun out, the two extra eye shines came out when he pulled the gun out. And that's the point I didn't quite ask him on the timing on it. Right. The only thing I knew that he pulled the gun out and this thing reacted. And it started moving the other way. But he said he saw two pairs of eye shine. Now, to myself, I didn't know he saw those two. He didn't tell me after the fact. But when he was moving back to the left to the center of the river, or to that cavity, to that depth where it's deep at, when it was making it, when we were going back to the left where it was coming from, well, it never went back where we first saw it. It was actually going deeper, going towards the wood, but in the water, it was moving back. When he was doing that, that's when I saw my pair of extra eye shine behind it in the woods. So I don't know when he saw his compared when I saw that pair, when he saw the two pairs, I'm not sure if one will move over here behind this one or what, or the other. And so, like I said, all the witnesses I have spoken out here, I know there's three for sure. A fourth one, it could possibility, I don't know. Well, or it's possibility the pair that he saw, one will move towards the woods behind the other one, But like I said, those two, I heard vehicle coming. We got in the truck and we took off. I didn't want to let people know what we're doing on the bridge. I didn't know who was coming down, because like I said, that side of that bridge, you're not allowed to go in the water. You're not allowed to go over there. Well, no, really, you're not even allowed to go around the bridge. Both sides of the bridge, high fence is this restricted area. So, and it didn't make sense because usually people go fishing or canoeing or kayaking or what, right? It didn't make sense, but that's what Sean and I, after the fact, it's kind of strange. It's this restricted area, But anyway, we took off, and I'm driving slow. I'm trying to find a way, and those vehicles caught up. There's two vehicles. And Sean, let's go. I was okay, fine. Well, let's go. He didn't tell me. He still was kind of quiet. He didn't tell me why. He said, let's go. I said, okay, let's go. Let's go drive around that area because it's down the road. It's maybe it's like maybe 3 or 4 miles where we saw on that bridge where that gentleman that heard 3 saw 1 and he came back and told me they came back where he lives. Because it's a straight shot, Jeff. Where that guy saw and you follow east to west, it's a straight line. You follow that very creek bed, it takes you straight all the way to, it's winding, don't get me wrong, it's not a straight shot, but that creek goes straight to that bridge, from there to there. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a perfect way for it to travel. Anyway, we go to that gentleman's house, by his house, drive over there, see if we see anything. Anyway, we didn't see nothing. Anyway, we come back to my area, my house. I say, well, let's drive down on the lake bed where my neighbor saw it. Stephanie saw this thing squatted down. It was jet black. And Jeff, we get there. There's fog. We're driving the lake bed, right? And there's fog. Now fog has to be 8 feet high from the lake bed. We're parked. That thing is above us, right? The fog. Of course, lights don't work. I have fog lights, but still, it's hopeless. You know, you get blind. If you try to throw a high beam, you're just lighting up a curtain, right?
Yep.
And anyway, Sean gets out and looks, and it's getting cold. And we parked there, and then I said, well, I know they sent me a location to where they found footprints of the Dogman, Stephanie and her husband, my neighbor. And you know what? Like I said, I was taking care of my dad. He passed on, and I didn't go investigate. But I just lost. I lost my dad. And now I told him, well, let's, we should do a day thing. But anyway, the fog was so thick, and I'm looking to my left. And you got shrubs, after the lake dries up, you get those shrubs growing, 6 foot tall, from the lake bed, and all the nutrients and everything, they just take off, And of course, there's a lot of deer there, Jeff. I mean, tons of deer running around. Well, that's why they come down for the deer. I mean, there's tons. And right now, they're running like crazy. It's kind of spooky. It's a little spooky how they're running around, right?
Yeah.
I look to my left, there's like a erosion from the water. And it's like a ditch, maybe a 4 feet deep ditch. And something hit me. You know what, Sean, let's go. Let's call it a night. I'm looking at that. I'm looking at the fog. Shoot. This thing can be crawling all forward and we wouldn't even know it. Going through this crevice, erosion area looked like a ditch.
Yeah.
I said, Jeff, I told Sean, let's call it a night. Now it's 4 o'clock in the morning. Well, I told Sean, I was preparing myself for something like this. Jeff, I have 17 cameras around my house. 17 cameras. Man, I got these hundreds and 100-year-old oak trees. Huge. These suckers are going to be climbing up there, hiding up there. These are monster trees. They can hide. So I got cameras through a whole house. And like I said, in like the previous podcast, interviews you did with me, that my neighbor that's like maybe not even a quarter mile away, that saw that one standing in his property, he went back in the house, got a gun and a camera, and they took off across the lake bed right in front of my shop. I'm about 100 yards away from my shop, man. That's where Stephanie saw it. And they're like, she saw it maybe 8 months ago there. So I got cameras there. And then, of course, the other witnesses saw it running this other side of the lake. Where that's how Sean and I connected is that, see, I know he heard me and all that, and he has a friend that lives the other side of the lake. Technically, it's probably a mile from my house to his friend's house. And his son and his friend have heard howls, deep howls, not coyote howls around that area. And I had seen deer running for their life, but I'm wondering what's chasing it. Of course, I don't see it. A whole herd running for their life, like something, I'm thinking about a mountain lion or a bobcat chasing. Nothing. Yeah. I don't see nothing. So I have heard, me and my wife have seen that. Anyway, but I have cameras. Yes, I told Sean jokingly, right? These things like to follow you home, and it really ain't following me home because they hang around here, right? All right. Next day, later on that day, that Sunday morning, right? We went Saturday, and that was not this past Saturday, a week before Saturday. That's when we had that encounter. Anyway, hindsight. Now we go out and do a day and night investigation out in the field this past Saturday. See if we could find some tracks. Well, I practiced with my night vision camera. The binoculars. Sean invested some money on a flare camera, very expensive one. Because, of course, hindsight, golly, we have this kind of equipment, we at least try to get a shape, but see if we can maybe get some heat signature in the water from this thing. I don't know if it'll work because it was in the water, right?
Yep.
So, anyway, first thing we do, a day investigation, last Saturday. We go to the picnic area, look around, look for tracks. Well, a lot of game track. Deers, a lot of deer track up there. Tons. Nothing. Of course, it's like not even half a mile from the picnic area to the bridge. So we get out, we get to the bridge, and then we go on the creek bed heading west. Because on the east side of the bridge, we always thought the river authority owned the creek bed. But anyway, that side was all fenced in from that ranch. It was posted and had a fence, so we didn't go to the east side of the bridge. So we stayed on the west side of the bridge, and we hiked about a mile. Thick, both sides of the big, thick woods. Really thick. And we're talking about game trails. Heavy loaded game trails. These deer jumping over fence. It's heavy traffic. And then I saw some bedding areas. It could be deer. It could have been hog. Of course, there's maybe a Dogman. But you know what? I'm thinking, being skeptical, it could be hog or deer. It could be the whole, like 10 of them sleeping in this one area. It's like a heavy area that they've been bedding there. Anyway, we saw bobcat, mountain lion tracks. And then I have pictures on my link, on my Facebook link. I can send you those pictures if you want.
Yeah, I was going to put the video at the end of this interview so people can see it.
Well, we picked up, and then Stephanie's husband, remember you and I, we talked about, I think maybe when the first interview you did, that Derek saw a Bigfoot on the other side of Bandera. And then, I kind of was a little skeptical and said, well, Nick, you can't say he didn't see a Bigfoot, but Derek saw it for 15 minutes. Where you and I were talking about it. Mm-hmm. I'm just thinking Dogman, but I'm thinking, I said, Bigfoot out here, but we don't know. Of course, I learned better, right? Well, we have pictures of tracks. It's hard ground. It's rocky. So we're trying to find, we had rain like 3 days prior. I think we had rain on that Wednesday. Anyway, we found some tracks. I can see one that looked like a Dogman track. Of course, we saw some mountain lion track. We we eliminated those. But Jeff, I got pictures that it could be Dogman tracks. And then we got a track, maybe two. The one that's very obvious. The second one, Bigfoot. It's a Bigfoot track. You go to see it, it's a Bigfoot track. And we go, that was the last thing we expect to see. We're looking for Dogman. We're not expecting to see no Bigfoot track. It looks like a Bigfoot track. You're going to see it. I got the pictures. You're going to see it. Anyway, so we hiked for a mile on both sides of the bank. We could have gone farther. It goes a long ways, but, we're just going to go back and forth where all these witnesses seen them, right? And it makes sense. I'm telling you, you and I spoke. I remember pulling off the side of the highway, and I see all these game trails. You can see But like I said, and I took my wife, and then she got scared. But anyway, oh yeah, Jeff, it's obvious there. There ain't no doubt about it. I mean, tons. Not just, thousands of tracks of different game running through there. Thousands of tracks. There's not like a little trail. Multiple trails, and heavy. And then you can see the hoofs of the deers, hooves and you see some hoofs of cows too, But like I said, we got those, and we looked and looked and looked and looked, and we're going, and we caught those, and it's obvious. It's a deep impression that you can see them. But so we saved that. So anyway, from that point, we decided to go to the bridge, and that's when we found out. That's what we found out, it's restricted area. You see the signs. Now we're at daylight. And, of course, we wanted to see if we could get footprints, so any tracks where this thing got out. So we're thinking he went to the backside of the woods, going towards the dam. But like I said, it's kind of, just imagine it, the river comes from the right, and it continues on the bridge. But when it comes to the right, it takes a sharp right where the cavity, and it's deep, so it's telling me the water's, it's so deep that the water's running backwards. But anyway, we were hoping we get tracks there, but we couldn't get in. And I was tempted to climb those fences, but you know what? They're not, it's not your typical fence. No, these are square tubing, big fence, tall, painted red. There's a razor wire on top. I wanted to see, there has to be tracks. It has to be tracks back there, but we couldn't get access to it. So we looked around there. And then it was getting dark. And then, of course, it's still early. So we decided here's a back road. I've never been from there heading south, where the river, that creek bed runs, eventually connects to the one going to the bridge. So we decided to go back roads. And we thought there were public picnic areas along the river, for kayakers and all that, for public access. No, these were all private, little picnic area, resort areas, whatever. We couldn't go. So we went up more, and there was another one. There was another public. It was the big gate was locked and everything. Man, I said, God, we got to get down to the riverbed, because this is now the riverbed's downstream from their bridge. We want to get access to it anyway. Well, there was a section of the gate fence was down. We decided to go. It's nice. That's dark, right? Oh, man. Talking about being creepy. Oh, and now I was feeling nervous. We're out there walking. Now we're walking away from the dude. We're heading towards the creek bed. And we're hearing things moving around, right? And then you hear scenarios. You hear people, when these things follow you out on a forest, whatever, and usually it's a drop on the right side, right? And then they're hiding along that drop, following you along. Well, there was an area that had the same scenario drop, and I'm trying to shine the light, and of course now, Sean is invested in that flare camera. And then what's cool about that flare, you get the heat signature, and also if you see it, it has a laser beam light, laser light. Yep. That, you hit it. Okay, I'm looking at this area, right? It's pretty cool. And then he invested I think he bought a $300 or $400 really expensive flashlight, a torch, really. That's what it is. And so he was ready to quit, because we're very disappointed that the light, we couldn't get it, the light to shine on it, our other lights, So he invested some money. He ordered it quick through Amazon, right? And so he was running the flare. And it was working good. He was picking up heat signatures out of boulders and all that. So it was working. Anyway, we're gone, and we hiked about a mile. We were going heading down the creek bed, and of course, we were a little nervous now. We were now we're in and it was to top it all, Jeff, was like, it went up 100% full moon. It was almost a full moon, like 90% almost. And so it was lit it up. So we were a little nervous walking down. And we were about to hit the creek bed. We finally made it down. When we stopped, we saw some cabins, walked around the cabin, and he picked up something big behind, underneath the other side of because the cabins were on stilts, right? A little high, right? But he picked up something big on the other side, and all of a sudden it was gone. So now we're getting nervous, right? Anyway, we're heading towards the creek bed, to the riverbed, and we're walking, and we're about to get on it. The pavement roads is going to sit. Now we're hitting gravel, right? Well, we see a pickup truck on the park down there. I said, oh, shit, is this a caretaker or what? Because we're technically trespassing, right? Yeah. And so he throws the flare on the truck, see if the truck's, there's any signature or any passenger, nothing. And I say, no, let's turn around because they can shoot us here. We're trespassing. So we went back, we went left. So we go back. It's still kind of early. So we drove by the bridge one more time, nothing. And then we decided to go to that creek bridge, right, where we saw the tracks. We decided to go over there. Tells the area, well, there's another town right close by there. So we decided, well, I'm a little hungry. We'll grab some Whataburger. And then we continued. We went to the picnic area. Anyway, we investigate there, and we sit there for a while. We heard sounds, but we weren't picking up nothing. We're not picking up nothing. We're not picking up nothing. So we go to the bridge, same scenario. The creek, I say the creek bed, it's called Verde Creek, but we sit there for a while, making sounds, and it's getting cold. Because it's supposed to get down, well, of course, it ain't as cold as y'all, but it's cold for us.
Right.
It's getting down to 24 degrees. So, anyway, but we didn't catch nothing. Anyway, so we decided to go back to the bridge. Of course, we saw we had our encounter. So we go back over there, and of course we look around. We did catch something, but it was like a bobcat. It was a bobcat. We did catch something out there, but it was a bobcat, and it was weird because the bobcat had like a greenish eye shine, Yeah. So that reflect with a flashlight and with the light. But like I said, the other one, like I shined the light to get his attention, try to get his attention and move the light away from him. That's what that bright light, and especially when he played that baby recording, crying. Yeah. Oh man, talking about they opened up wide. That really freaked me out. I was like, whoa. This thing is big eyes. It was that distant, man. Jeff, the eye shine has to be, man, the size of between a golf ball and a tangerine size. It was big eyes.
Yeah.
Big eyes. Those things, they freaked me out. Anyway, but now I'm going full fledged. Him and I are going full fledged. We're gonna be partnering up from now on because we got to cover each other's back. I don't want to be out there by myself. And now we know they're out there. I knew they were out here. I even told them we're going to see one. If they're running this close and this close to the house in this area, and they've already been here for years already running around according to everybody that witnessed it. Yeah. And then, of course, we want to see this area that I personally investigate, and people have sent me pictures of some tracks. I think I sent those tracks in that deer the way it was eaten. But that's the other side of Bandera. my town, the other side of the town, north side. I don't know where. Was it on their property? It looked like a creek bed, but I tried to look at the map, to find it. But you know what? I told Sean, let's just stick in this area. Of course, you probably know it's a hotbed on 281. All the way to where Christopher Wiley got killed. That's 281. You follow it all the way up here, and you found that now people are coming out more and more all along the hill country, 281 on that area, east and west of it, encounters Dogman. But like I told Sean, we stick it now. We're investing in equipment. As a matter of fact, I just bought a drone today, a nice one, real nice drone, to help us, because it's a lot of, Jeff, people don't realize that, well, it's a town. We have, like you and I spoke before, we have 1,000-acre ranches out here.
Yeah.
I mean, they're huge. You might as well say we're in a forest. I mean, there's some open area, but I mean, it's thick. There's not a toxin. No, it's like a tract of forest. I mean, from one side of the lake, it is all trees. You all follow it down, And like I said, I mean, you got high fences, exotic animals out here, and like, of course, the natural wild thing, they have plenty to eat out here. But like I said, we're going to continue on. And now, since I'm taking more, now I'm really dedicating to being on the fields and doing research. And you're going, like I said, all the information, you're the only one to go to give you information, updates. You're going to be the only one I give all these updates to.
I appreciate that.
Because, I mean, you and I gone for at least, I think, a couple of years now, maybe.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I listen to your podcast. Huh?
Since 2021.
Yeah. It's been a while. Like I said, I like your pod. I mean, you're real.
Did you, I don't mean to cut you off, though, but I've been meaning to ask this. Off the bridge, did you figure out what that section of property was that was razor wired off and why there was
no, because I've been to a lot of lakes in Texas, and then they mark they restrict certain sections of the spillway.
Right.
Well, they want people to go off the banks and fall into the deep area of the spillway, right? You get that turbulence of water or whatever cause that effect, you would drown, right? Mm-hmm. And I've seen people fish or use RC radio control boats to drop off bait, but only for a certain distance, right? And that's always the norm. I understand that. That's a norm. They don't allow people to go on that beyond the close of the spillway.
Safety
but we're a quarter mile. We're at least a quarter mile from the spillway. That didn't even make sense. We don't know. I mean,
and there's no signs, no kind of like.
No, there's a sign. It says restricted area. There's a sign that says restricted area.
But nothing like who it's who controls it. That's weird, because usually when it's restricted, it'll say, restricted per Coast Guard, or restricted per county of. That's
no. It did say something. Restricted area monitored by I don't know. It says sheriff or law enforcement or something like that in that effect.
Okay.
Yeah, it did say that. No, it said that on the other side, on the south side of the bridge, right? But on the north side of the bridge, where we saw that, no, it didn't say that. It just said restricted area.
Okay.
And that side had the razor wires.
Yeah, and that's the area away from the spillway.
Right, heading towards the spillway. But like I said, it's a quarter mile. It has to be a quarter. Because what's weird, because we look at the map, and even Sean, because he's ex-military, it doesn't make sense. Okay, we know they were going to restrict by the spillway. But you can see the spillway on the map, and then it turns into a small little lake, pond field, and then it finally runs down where we were. So that's what doesn't make sense, because because there's no danger where we're at that anybody could get drowned or there's a danger because the spillway's right there. No, the spillway will not affect anything in that area where we were at. That's what threw us off. And of course, Sean said that's a government thing. He's saying it to me. He said it to that he came across. Yeah, that's something that the government doing here. You know, it's not allowing it. Why not allowing people to go there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then believe me, don't get me wrong. There's a road, or maybe probably 30 yards from the beginning of the bridge on the west side, and you go up, and there's private land up there. Well, now you're going up like a cliff. You're going up like a mountain, like a hill. You're up there real high. Of course, there's no access towards that way, towards the spillway. There's no access, well, because it's private land.
Right.
And believe me, is it really private land? Okay, you're driving up, you see your basic ranch, your basic gates. But we're right there going toward the spillway. But I look at everything. Ex, you know, being was, you know, ex-military, with the Air Force, and, you know.
Yeah, you gotta.
You know, to see what I see, Jeff, those gates are high-dollar gates. I didn't think about it, TJ. You brought it up. That's some high-dollar gates.
Yeah.
For that area. Why? I mean, it's so high-dollar is that they have a special driveway, curves, and everything for a gate entrance. And the rest of the properties there is just basic. I mean, there's some people have nice, expensive eggs. Don't get me wrong. But the one that going towards the spillway, high-dollar. I mean, big, thick metal.
Definitely not residential.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I didn't think that. You know, I'm thinking, all right, I can't get access. I only think because I went later on that week.
Oh.
I went last week during, like, I think Wednesday. I told Sean, I'm gonna see if we can get some access down there. Because our plan was to get down there and see if we can find tracks. Because we know if he saw two on the woods and we saw one in the water, I don't know that there was a fourth one or not, or one moved over there. I don't know. But like I said, they were so big, the eye shine, and it was moving the water and no ripples. But the thing is that, of course, we're going to invest some money in good cameras. Well, I know it's hard even with good cameras to get something like that at night, right? It's kind of hard. So that's why Sean invested on some good flare camera. At least with the flare, we can get some kind of shape, right?
Yeah.
At least we can get a shape.
Especially if you get a thermal. If you get a thermal, you'll be able to get a good shape.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to do that because we're investing money. Like I said, I got a drone, a decent one, GPS control. You can pin drop where you want to go. You can tell it to follow you. I mean, you can tell it what to do, and it has two cameras. One is you can control it by the controller and to tilt and all that. But yeah, then it's an 8K camera, so maybe we catch it because there's too much to cover. I mean, you can hike and hike and hike, and look, we hiked for a mile before we hit some tracks, and we could have gone further. We didn't go further. Maybe we would have found more, but we decided to turn around, you know, because we were planning. Because the game plan was go to the bridge. That was the number one game plan. See if we can find some tracks. Yeah. Of course, we didn't get access. That was the number one plan that day to do, but of course, the way we did it, the route. Let's go here first. It's on the way. Let's go this way. Let's go this way. Oh. And work our way up there. But we call it early that day. I think he was a little nervous. I think we shut it down at 2 a.m. Yeah, and I mean we shut it down at 2, but we got to my house at 3. So we but. That's what's happening. We're going to continue on do an investigation. Like I said, we're going to be investing in equipment. And then, too, I kind of semi-retired early.
Yeah.
So I have some free time now. And I'm going to invest in some equipment. But I'm going to try to invest a more technical military type than when we track. So we can track, get better visual, better recording. To get, because, like at first, like I said, I was skeptic at first when I first saw it, and logic would say it's a mountain lion. It's a cougar, mountain lion, what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
At first, that's the first thing, it's mountain. I tried to eliminate it, right? First thing, eliminate it. And no, it wasn't. It did not react. There had no way. It was too big of an eye shine, the way it moved. It wasn't afraid of us. It was the way it was doing the technical would go back and forth, really moving to the right. Intelligent. Like, say you hear this thing, but like I said, we were looking at it for about 40, 45 minutes. We were there for a while watching, but we're mesmerized. Absolutely. And it wasn't aggressive. Like like I said, the one Stephanie saw, it was just squatted down, just looking at her. And you always hear that. They kind of reveal this, even Bigfoot revealed to women and children more easily than male, right? Men, right? And she said, yeah, but she definitely wasn't afraid because she lived in Alaska. So she's around wildlife. That's the way they live. They live like off the land. They grow their own food. Everything fresh. They grow their own meat. So, she still thinks that even though she lives here now, but she wasn't scared. She didn't panic. She said, I grabbed my daughter, pushed her back. We moved backwards. But she was carrying her gun. I don't know what kind of gun she was carrying, but she was carrying. And she walked back and walked away. And she called me. She texted me, hey, I saw this out here because I talked to her about it. And I said, they're running around here. But like I said, her husband saw Bigfoot out here. But like I said, I have another neighbor down the road that actually saw Bigfoot twice. Not here, but somewhere else. But he knows, and I told him about Dogman. I said, oh, yeah, Nick, I believe in Dogman. Hey, yeah, I personally said Bigfoot. My wife made fun of me, and later on we went back upstate, where he's from. We both saw one together, and now she don't talk crap now. But anyway, that's what happened, Jeff, and we're going to continue out there, and we're going to invest in equipment. Like I said, I just ordered a drone. Of course, you and I have that ammunition, the TUI from Fort Scott.
Fort Scott,
yeah, that's what I have. I kind of have one carrying on my guns. And my 30-06 and all that. I carry all those ammo. But I did. It's funny. I had the 30-06 in the truck, and I had my two guns, and of course, Sean has his 40, and he bought looks like a tactical the shortest barrel legal, 18 inches, I think. Shotgun was double bucked, and then and he's also buying Dragon Breath. But personally, like I said, it's nice to carry you be prepared, but like I said, maybe I'm overthinking, but they were aggressive, and it was just moving that was done. But like I said, it responded when he pulled out the gun.
We're sorry. The number you have dialed has calling restrictions that have prevented the completion of your...
Wow, that was really weird. I have no idea what that was. I was trying to think of my questions that I wanted to ask you. I already asked one, and then all of a sudden that pops up. And like that conversation me and you were having, I said, the reason why I use this phone is for a certain reason, and it was on your end, not mine, which is really weird.
Yeah.
We're going to cut this short right now, but I do have a couple questions I wanted to ask you.
Okay.
About that property. Are you planning on, you're talking about going down at night, this and that, but have you thought about doing it in the day just to, maybe park a ways away from where you were and walk in, like, I don't know, just like you're kind of looking at the area, or, inconspicuously looking around, not like parked like you were at night, but just inconspicuously to see what is there, to see if you can see any tracks in the day.
Yes, we're planning and to maybe get permission. And and I almost forgot. And I'm going to say it real quick. The gentleman that heard 3 saw 1 and he came back months later and told me they came back. I didn't have time to talk to him. Was weird, Jeff. I went to his house to get permission to walk on his property to see tracks, to find tracks. Anyway, I went there and I didn't go. I knew he had a dog, but I didn't go. It's fenced in, and by the time the country, anyway, I went to the gate and I hollered, "Hey, hello, anybody?" Nobody was there. Saw his truck there. Anyway, well, I think maybe he has another vehicle that works. So I left. And I went driving around. That was on a Wednesday, and I figured, well, now it's about 5:36. So let me go back. So I drive to his property. I drive in his driveway, and then I drive back out and I park in front of his house. When I park in front of his house, he's closing his curtains. I see a line, and he's closing the curtains. Oh, he's home. Well, he knows my truck, because when he came across the road, really, to tell me that they came back. He came back because he saw my truck at his parents' house. Well, of course, his parents don't live there no more. They sold the house. Anyway, I saw him, right?
Yeah.
He closed the curtain, so I'll go to the gate and holler, hey, and I honked the horn, right? I honked the horn when he closed the gate so he could look. He didn't look. So I go to the gate and holler, "Hey, it's Nick. I'm the one who was working on your parents' house, blah, blah, blah." Jeff, he never came out. That's what's weird. Yeah. He was so anxious to tell me what happened when they came back. I know it was a coincidence, and I'm overthinking things. But anyway, that's what happened. But I wanted to get permission to go on his property, because he said there was 3 running there, and they said last time I talked to him, well, really, I didn't tell. He told me that they came back. So I told Sean, maybe we can get permission and walk his property, because that follows. You go down that valley, it goes towards the dam. It goes towards the dam. Anyway, like I said, I didn't get permission, and it's pretty deep. I personally glanced down there, and I saw the deer feeder way down there. So when he was telling me the story, it's exactly what he told me, that the deer feeder, they're pushing it down. Anyway, but anyhow, that's the plan. Yes, sir.
All right. So, I really appreciate you sharing this with me, and, keep me in the loop on this. What I'm going to do is, after I say goodbye to Nick here, I am going to jump onto your Facebook and get that video that you're talking about and put it at the end of this, so everyone can see it too. And see what see what you were talking about during this, video. And a couple of those pictures that you were talking about, that Bigfoot picture, or the footprint there that you were talking about and such. So.
Yeah, and there's one, and I want your opinion, because you see the toes and the paw, because it looks like there's 1 or 2. One that's pretty good, the second one's okay. The Dogman, and then of course the Bigfoot. You see ones that you look at it, it's a Bigfoot, and then you see one, you can see the impression of the other foot, but you're gonna see all the pictures in there.
Yeah, and I'll put the in the description. I'll put the name of the Facebook page in there so people can find it as well on their own too.
Yeah, then of course, you're probably going to see it. I actually put, I don't know what the proper word, a summary or a description of the page, why the page is existing, and explaining all the stuff that's going on in Texas, and explaining how the cryptid Dogman came to effect, where people acknowledge or seeing these things. Anyway, you go see a description explaining of the Dogman on my page also, so at least some people can look at it and understand. Well, definitely you're gonna see what what I'm talking about, but I have that on the page.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, don't hang up. It was good talking to you. I want to talk to you for a minute before I let you go. But it was great having you back. And keep me in the loop and let me know what else goes on, because I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Sounds good. I sure appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, folks. How weird was that? The call just drops and then I'm able to call him back. It was almost like his service was cut off, but it wasn't. Really, really strange. But right now I'm going to share that video clip with you guys so you guys can check it out.
So I'm recording it right now. Jesus, those eye shines are bright. Man, did you see how it reflects on the water? Look at that. Let's see how it reacts to it. It's definitely just sitting in one spot. Really ain't moving too much. It's not spooked.
And there you have it, folks. I hope you all enjoyed today's upload as much as I enjoyed sharing it with you. I also hope to see you all at the live stream, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you for supporting this channel. It is, after all, your support that helps the channel to continue to grow and go, and what gives us all a place and a chance to share our experiences and theories judgment-free. Everyone is simply treated with the respect that we deserve. Please, everyone, stay safe, happy, healthy, and ever vigilant, keeping an eye on our children, pets, family, and friends. These creatures are real. These events have happened. Share this information with those you love and care about, and it may just help save their lives someday. Until next time, never stop asking questions, never stop searching for the truth, and God bless you all.